Hey y'all, I'm back and I am doing a video here in review of, not really review, more just kind of an overview of Natasha Denona palettes. I have kind of just pulled a variety of different shapes, sizes, and color formats, and this is in honor of the news that, yay, Natasha Denona is going to be coming to Ulta. So I saw that yesterday or the day before on, I believe, Trim Mood. And I was super excited because if I'm like some of you or you're like me, we have saved up points probably. And she's one of my favorites to purchase palettes and things like that. So I will be able to use my points for things that I love. Also, I'll probably be gaining more points because it's a pricier item, frankly, but in my opinion, well worth it. So what I will do here, obviously I'm not going to review all her palettes. That would be crazy and you'd be here for years. And to be honest with you, I don't have all of her palettes. I do have a lot of her palettes. But what I did was I just went through and I picked a selection of a few of her palettes that I had on hand real quickly, could grab, to kind of show some different sizes, different color schemes, just different things that might kind of show her range, if you will, of options. So, you know, one of the things is this was probably one of my older palettes. It's the ones that came with the, it's almost like a faux leather type feel cover to it. This one particularly is the Sunset palette. And y'all don't go by the colors inside. I swap them out so much that this may or may not be the actual layout. I might have pulled some of these out of my gold palette and things like that. I'm terrible for that, which is another reason I would not do an actual review of this. But this palette is a beautiful palette as it stands, as it comes, even if you don't create it to be exactly what you want. The pigment is ridiculous, beautiful. The quality is amazing. This palette is a pricier palette. I'm not sure of the exact price on the larger palettes at this point. I cannot remember because lately it seems like all I've been purchasing are the midi size palettes and they run about $69. So these palettes I haven't seen, you know, or purchased in a while. I believe they were around $125, $129 back when I bought this, but don't quote me on that. You know, then, you know, she had some of the harder cover palettes in the same size. They were the same size as the gold, the Sunset, you know, some of those palettes, the bigger palettes, full size palettes, I believe they called them. And these were more colorful options like the tropical palette. And again, these may have been switched out. So, you know, I don't know that I would go by the colors that you're seeing here, but you get the gist that this was more obviously tropic colors. So if you're a colorful person, she's got you covered there. The Circo Loco palette, I think, is an underrated palette if you're a color person. This palette is heavy, heavy shimmer. If you love shimmer, which I do, I know I'm way too old too, but I don't give a damn. I love it. I'm going to wear it. It's like clothes. If somebody's like, you know, you're too old to wear those clothes, I don't care. I'm going to wear what makes me feel good or what I like. And if it embarrasses my children, well, all the damn better. So whatever, you know, just do what you like. But this palette came out and the quality is insane good for these colors. Purples are hard to do anyway. Anybody who knows makeup knows that. Now, I don't believe I've changed any colors in this one. So I do think, don't quote me on it 100%, but I do think this is exactly how it came. As you can see, heavy on the shimmers. But I'm just going to give you like a quick swatch of just 2 or 3. I'll give a pink and like a purple shimmer and like a green and like a blue. Just to kind of give you, I mean, this is just barely touching them, y'all. I mean, I'm barely touching them. This is the kind of like pigment that we're talking about. So if you are a color person, if you are a person who likes color, that's barely touching them, y'all. I mean, you put a primer under that, you know, it's amazing what you can do with this. If you're a color person. Now, if you're not, this is so not your jam. Don't even look at it twice. You know, but then we go into the midi palettes and I just grabbed 3 that I thought, you know, the retro palette, and mine has been broken 3 times. I've dropped it in the floor. My son's dropped it in the floor. So please just, I apologize a million times for the condition of this palette, but these are the original colors that came in it. And it's been heavily used too. This is a well-loved, and also well beaten up palette, but it is one that I really enjoy because there are a ton of neutrals that you can use. And if you love berries, which, you know, berries and warm tones are my favorite. So I've used this palette quite a bit because it's not over the top berry, but it's got really nice neutrals and berries. You can make a nice subtle, you know, springtime look, or just a nice neutral look that will go any time of year. And again, it's that same Natasha Denona quality. It's in a smaller palette, which I much prefer. I prefer that you can get a good amount of color choices, a good amount for much less money, because I'm never going to pan one of these palettes. I'm going to tell you right now, there's no way I'm going to pan this palette, even if, and I'm going out on a limb here because I have so many palettes. Obviously, it's hard for me to pan anything. But even if I had just one palette and this was it, I feel like I would still struggle to pan this palette because it is so pigmented. It is just a lot of product per pan. I mean, that is a lot of product per pan. It would just take you forever. You probably, you know, the trends would change unless it's a classic, or you get sick of the color scheme, or, you know, it would go bad. I mean, they put shelf lives on these things, you know, 24 months, some of them are, you know, 18 months, some are 36 months, whatever they may be, different on different palettes, but I don't think anybody actually adheres to that. I don't. I probably should, but I don't. But regardless, I just cannot see me ever panning this palette. So I'd much rather have, for half the money, or close to half, a little bit more maybe, you know, this many colors, you know, just in smaller sizes. So I have, you know, just about as many options, if not more, most of the time in these things, and be able to get as much use out of it, and, you know, be able to buy almost 2 palettes for the price of one. So I do love the midi size palettes from Natasha Denona. This one's the retro palette if anybody's interested. Now she came out with the Love palette, and this is one I think she came out with Valentine's Day a few years ago, and we're coming up on Valentine's Day now, so I assume it's still available. I can't swear to that, but this one I love because, again, I love the pinks and the berry colors. This one's a little bit more intense though, but you do have the purples in there to deepen it, give you a little bit more of a you know, sultry vibe with it if you want that. Again, the quality is there. It's all the same Natasha Denona quality. You are not sacrificing quality by getting the smaller palette, in my opinion, at all. I do believe that all her palettes are made in Italy. I tell you, my eyes, y'all, are so bad that I can't see, but I'm almost positive that that is the case, that all her palettes are made in Italy. They are good quality palettes. I have never had a problem with a Natasha Denona palette being questionable in quality, ever. And that's, you know, I'll stand by that. So, and then the last one I just grabbed quickly, again, of the midi size, just to kind of show the variety, because you know, people don't always like the same colors. She has the Zendo palette, and this was one I thought was for somebody who might like a little bit of everything, a smattering, because you do have your pinks, but you also have like your warms up here, and then if you like your colors, your blues, your greens, your what have you, you have that over here. And I know if you've watched any of my previous videos, I talked about the Robin Eisenberg Urban Decay palette, and how people looked at that because they wanted the neutrals in a pop of color, or the warms in a pop of color. And I said there's so many other palettes that you can get that with the quality 1,000 times over. Well, this is that palette. You know, again, I mentioned the Huda palette, the Mercury Retrograde, having the colors with the neutrals. That's that palette, but this is a little bit deeper version, I think, than that one of that palette. So depending on if you are more of a pastel or a deeper one, and I believe she has a pastel palette as well. I don't own that. I'm not huge on pastels. The palette was beautiful, but I'm just not huge on pastels. The thing about Natasha Denona is there's really not a color scheme palette that I can think of, whether it be the you know, the gold palette, whether it be the bronze palette, which was a midi, that is just lovely versions of all different warm tones and browns and things like that. You know, just about any color scheme that you would want, she has a palette for you. Now, she did have the big giant palettes back in the day. I'd never had one of those because I wasn't a makeup collector yet at that time, and I never went back and bought them because they were over $200 price point. and I just didn't feel like starting out, for sure, especially to collect, that was something I needed to do. But if you're into that, for sure, I'm sure the quality is there and it's worth it if that's what you're for, but I would never use that much up in my lifetime, probably. The last little thing I pulled were just 3 of these little ones, and I think they're considered mini palettes, I believe. You know, they're like little 5-pan minis, and this one is like super, super neutral, obviously. Same quality. I mean, you can't, you know, this one, you can get your neutrals and your pop of color. This one is more like a bronzy, warm berry-ish kind of thing. I'm sorry about the reflection there. I should be opening these. My apologies. Again, there's not just about anything she makes a larger palette in. She does some form of a mini in. And then she even has some, and I've got one that's like, I can't remember which one. It might be the Lila, because I have the large Lila, which was a purple version of this, and a lot of purples in it, and it's one of the best palettes ever. But she did a little almost micro size. It was like much smaller than this even, and I keep that usually in one of my bags or in my car. For some reason, I couldn't find it today. I don't know what I've done with it, but it was one that I took everywhere with me because it was just so tiny and it was perfect. I don't even know if it's still one that you can purchase, you know, or if it was like, you know, just one of those things, but it was even smaller than these. So, you know, it doesn't matter the size. It doesn't matter the shape. It doesn't, well, shape, I guess it's all fairly similar, but it doesn't matter the size or the need or the color scheme that you prefer. She does seem to have you covered. Now, I don't know if Ulta will be carrying all of her products, or if they'll start with a small amount, you know, and then work their way up to having more products. I don't know if they'll be primarily online at first and just have a few of her newer things in store, or how it will work. I'm not sure of all those details yet. Like I said, I just kind of got the news that it was confirmed. I heard it had been rumored for a while, and then it was confirmed just this week on Trend Mood or Weekend that Ulta will be carrying Natasha Denona. And I was just so excited that I just wanted to come on here. I wanted to show you some of the options that you can get with Natasha Denona. If you're not familiar with her, show you some of the quality, just soft swipes here, you know, and then, you know, you're looking at like, I mean, it's staying, like, you know, that's staying. I don't know if you saw the review I did before on the Urban Decay palette where I could just take a wipe and everything was gone. I mean, these have staying power. They are quality. It's totally different ball game with these. And to be honest with you, you know, do I think they're worth the money? I 100% think they're worth the money, especially if you're a person who is just going to buy one palette that is your jam color, you know, because like I said, she's got you covered just about any color that you gravitate towards. She's got a palette for you. But just to kind of, you know, give you, out of this one, let's say you like, I'll do a red, I'll do a gold, and then I'll do like a blue, just to kind of give you, you know, you can see. And unfortunately, I have, that turned out awful. But I mean, I barely touched them. And you can see that it's really there. And they apply better than they even swatch, which is saying a lot because, I mean, these things even swatch well. So, I mean, it's going to take a makeup wipe for me to get these off. But anyway, just wanted to let you know that that is on the forefront. It is coming to Ulta. So be on the lookout for Natasha Denona if you've had any interest in purchasing her things. Or if you know, haven't tried it before, definitely if they're out for swatch them. You'll be, you know, pleasantly pleased, I think. You know, and it might be that item that you save up for or you save your points for. I know that's what I plan to do with mine. I know they just picked up Dior. But for me, and this is just me personally, I hate to say this, but like I've bought Dior lip products and I've bought Dior eyeshadow quads, and I find it to be a little bit pricey for what you get. I don't think they're worth the money. I do think Natasha Denona is worth the money. I have the blushes. I have the new lipsticks. I have so many Natasha Denona products, and I've never been displeased with any of them. So I hope that this is giving you some sort of insight, some sort of information, at least showing you that, you know, if you thought they were all these $130 palettes you would never consider in your life, that you know now, that you can at least, you know, if you hadn't seen these smaller ones, or you hadn't realized that you could get, you know, this many colors for half the price of some of those big palettes. Because I know a lot of times you see those huge palettes and you're like, who's gonna pay $130 for that? And I can get it. You know, I get that. If you're not a collector, crazy talk, crazy train, and you're never going to use it. Like I said, I will never pay in that. If I wasn't just collector, loved makeup, obsession, really a madness, I'm crazy train. Why? You know, because I probably have this. I have this in the gold. I have it in the lila. You know, that much times 4, 5, 6, and that's just a fraction. That's just the Natasha. You know, come on, really. You get the gist. So I'm with you there. I feel you. Common sense person would not need that much shit in their repertoire, but you don't need to still get some Natasha Denona quality to throw in your purse. If this color, you know, you like your neutral berries, and you're like, boom, that's enough for me. And this would last you, oh my, I can't imagine paying in this one even. So, you know, it would be worth the money, and, you know, but it's coming to Ulta, so get hype. Anyway, if there's anything else you'd like to see, if you'd like to see any more Shop My Stash reviews specifically, or anything you want to know about, I may do a quick short, just kind of taking pictures of some of my junk in my stash, so that you might see something that piques your interest, and you can say, hey, do a review on that, or do a review on that. Or if it's not makeup related or skincare related, you know, I can do reviews on other stuff. I still have plans to do my Bartesian, that drink mix thing, but I wanted to wait till the weekend because my little boy is dying to do it with me, and there is a mocktail button on it for those of you who have kids. So he wants to make his own mocktail on here, and I'll be making, of course, a cocktail for me. So I will show you how to do that. He will show you how to make mocktails for your kids, or let them make their own, which is kind of a fun thing for everybody in the family. So all fun things. And we'll try to get that out to you, and I'll let you know all that kind of good stuff about price point and options of drink mixes that they currently have. And I do think I have my new capsules for it coming in this week, so we can try the new Valentine's Day drink together. So hope to see you back. Hopefully you will like, subscribe, share, and follow the channel so we can enjoy some of these little reviews together. Also, I'm going to try to get out and get something new. I've been kind of keeping my eye open on that Urban Decay Quickie concealer, but they're sold out right now of my color. So I'm going to try to get my hands on it if I can, because I do want to see how that compares to Shape Tape. I might do something with that. So anyway, hope to see you back soon. I hope you have a great week, and thanks for joining me. Bye.